Hi folks, my name is Emmanuel John. Welcome to Addiction Insights and Answers. So I recently had a client who asked me why, after many years of having no problems with his drinking, as a professional with a good business, good family, why he suddenly was having these difficulties, these losses of control, where he would maybe drink too much or maybe be affected by booze in a different way. And when I explained this to him, he found this to be very beneficial. We used to use it years ago in the chronic disease model of addiction. And so I just wanted to provide for you. So if you're struggling with loss of control, if you can't understand why suddenly, after years of the same amount of consumption, all of a sudden we're having problems, or maybe we're getting too intoxicated, or we're experiencing even some withdrawal symptoms. So basically, we have our homeostasis. That's where we are when we don't have any booze or drugs or anything in our system. We're going to focus on alcohol for the most part. So this is where I am. This is my heart rate. This is my attitude, emotional level. Up here is intoxication, right? Drinking too much, overshot the mark. Maybe here's 1 or 2 beers, here's 4 or 5 beers, here's 6 beers, and then all of a sudden I hit intoxication with 8. Okay, and then here's withdrawal. If I'm drinking, let's say that I spend, for a lot of my life, I just have a couple of beers all the time when I go out. So I'm doing this basically. I'm going homeostasis down into withdrawal, which we would call this a hangover. We would call this being a little drunk or loopy, maybe. And this is life, and we're just doing this. Maybe during the week we don't do any, so we kind of come back in and just follow our homeostasis at the same level. And that's fine, we do that. We don't have any problems. Maybe this is our 3 beer max, and this is what happens when the 3 beers comes out of our system. Maybe every once in a while, use a different color here, maybe every once in a while we have a little bit too many. Maybe we have a weekend where we hit the weekend here and we get a little bit drunker. Well, then we're going to go down a little bit more into withdrawal, which means more of a hangover. Okay, sorry about the writing there from an angle. Okay, so maybe we'll do this and then we get back into our regular homeostasis. That was a fluke, okay? So every once in a while this happens, right? And we still controlled it. We were a little drunker than our partner might have liked us to be, but we did fine for the most part. So this is our life, and we manage this, and we think, I know what 6 beers does, I know what 3 beers does, I know what happens afterward, I understand the hangover and all that, okay? Well, we're going along fine. We're not changing anything. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, that same 6 beers puts us up into there. And then it's the next time where our withdrawal is even worse. Maybe we even have some sort of a nervous system or shaky kind of thing going on with alcohol shakes. And we think, well, what the hell happened? How did that happen? Then, all of a sudden, without knowing it, this level of intoxication drops down here, and the level of withdrawal drops down here. Then all of a sudden my 3 beers is taking me a lot closer to being drunk, and my 6 beers is shooting me over the limit where I'm actually drunk. And then I'm actually having more significant withdrawal because the withdrawal line has changed. The intoxication line has changed, and the withdrawal line has changed. I'm still doing the same amount of drinking of alcohol that I've done all my life. But all of a sudden now it's having problems. Why? Because these 2 things, sometimes as we get older, and no one's really been able to explain it yet, but pretty much everybody agrees that it happens, is it shrinks down, and this starts happening. Then all of a sudden, what's happening? I'm getting over, maybe I acted like a fool at a party, maybe I got a DUI, right? Because I'm drunker, not able to function the way that I used to. I used to be able to walk straight here. Now all of a sudden I'm like staggering more, okay? So this is what happens. This is where loss of control happens. And all of a sudden we have a person who's been a functional alcoholic for many, many years of their lives. All of a sudden is seemingly not to be functioning as well. It's not that they changed anything. They didn't do anything wrong. They didn't change the thing they drank or anything. Now all of a sudden we're running into a problem. So this is loss of control. And this is when it's a loss of control because you don't know when this is going to happen. And what's crazy is that sometimes these can actually spread back out. And so we worry about getting drunk, or we can't even get drunk where you want to because they will actually open up a little bit. When this starts doing this, you're not managing your alcohol consumption. You're not managing your function related to your alcohol consumption at this point, because you never know where that's going to. There's no predicting it. There's no following it. You're not going to be able to track it. You could have this thing or synergism where one, or not necessarily synergism, but 3 beers makes us feel okay, and then another day when 3 beers makes us drunk. Then we'll have another day when 20 beers can't make us drunk, because this is happening. And the further we go up to intoxication, the further we're going to go down in the withdrawal. That means more hangovers. This is, for a person who gets the shakes, this is every day. And they're getting the shakes because they're going down in the withdrawal. So every day at 2 in the afternoon or 3 in the afternoon, they're starting to feel it because they're down here. And then they drink, and because the intoxication level is reduced, they're drunker and they're only going to have 3 beers or 6 beers. They weren't going to get as hammered as they were, because this changes. The homeostasis stays the same, right? This is our body without booze. If you take it all away, this is how you're going to function, and you won't have to worry about being intoxicated, and you won't have to worry about withdrawal. So I hope that helps. Again, this is loss of control. You do not have any control over when this happens, how frequently it happens, but it is a real and present problem when it comes to consuming alcohol on a regular basis. If you would like to look at some of my books, you can go to Addiction in the Family.com. I'll put a thing up on the screen, probably already there by now. If you have any questions, you can reach out to the website or the Facebook page. I'll make a video for you to answer those questions if I can. Thanks. Have a good day.